family and I weren't always health conscious, so I grew up eating these types of food almost every single day. Let me be clear by saying that I don't actually categorize foods as either good or bad, so I'm not saying that these foods are particularly bad. I think a better way to think of foods is either nutrient dense or nutrient poor. Nutrient poor meaning that these foods are often high in energy but lacking in other nutrients our bodies thrive off of as well, such as vitamins, minerals, and fiber.
Foods that do contain a high amount of vitamins and minerals are called nutrient dense.
So in today's video, I'll be sharing a couple of snacks that I grew up eating, as well as healthier, budget-friendly alternatives.
The original one I grew up eating was actually called Apple Munch, and let me tell you, on scorching hot days, these were bomb. As with a lot of these snacks, however, they don't actually include any nutritional information on the labeling. From the ingredients list, we can see that it contains water, cane sugar, pineapple concentrate, etc. So there isn't actually any real fruits in this. Malic acid is naturally present in most fruits and veg, but is also chemically synthesized and used as an acidity regulator and flavor enhancer in foods. And sodium benzoate has long been used as a preservative. Once again, there was no nutritional information present. As my mom suggested, very impressively, chocolate milk would actually be a better alternative. We know what the ingredients are, and we can actually refer to the nutritional information, which tells us that it's got a good balance of carbs, proteins, and fat. It also contains calcium and is low in sodium. So if you want to, you could actually freeze chocolate milk into popsicle molds. I have no idea if this is how you spell it, but Papa Bites is basically fried Samista leaves that have been coated in spices. So because it's something that's homemade, there's obviously no nutritional information, but it's pretty easy to judge from it that there is a lot of oil involved and also a lot of salt. Okay, the other brand of this, Flyers, is something that I also used to eat quite a lot growing up, and unfortunately I threw the packet away, so I didn't have a chance to actually look at the nutritional information, and I wasn't going to buy another packet. But the salt content is definitely something that I want to bring you guys' attention to. So I just want to do a quick exercise with you guys involving label reading specifically related to sodium. So you can screenshot this graphic. It's basically showing you what is considered low, moderate, and high sodium content per 100 gram of food. You will see that tin foods are under moderate sodium content, but I actually want to show you guys that I found some that are actually low sodium. So it's always interesting to have this, but important to be able to read the labels and know how to classify it yourself. Looking at chutney, which is one of my favorites to use, I won't lie. It has 421 milligrams of sodium, so it's actually moderate. Shockingly, this had 1,817 milligrams, so that is definitely high sodium. So if you are using sources like this that do contain a high sodium content, my advice is to not use anything else that contains sodium as well, and to use this very sparingly. And then yeah, with the tomato and onion, I was expecting it to have a high sodium content, but it actually has 67 milligrams per 100 gram. I thought it might have been the brand, so I used another one, and surprisingly this was also low sodium content.
Oh, you can walk this way towards me, darling, you're the only sight to see. Feels like the right time.
You can see with the spices, the sodium content is pretty high, except for the Raja.
You've been in the frame. All those things you do got me willing to play.
Aromat was crazy high at 24,464 milligrams, so be very careful when using certain seasonings like this and opt for ones with lower sodium content. Try and use herbs and spices that don't contain any salt, like these.
Baby, that's alright. Baby, that's alright. Baby, that's alright. Let me spit my game.
I'm not going to be going in detail on how consuming excess amount of sweets can be damaging for your dental health. In terms of nutrition, we need to be aware that consuming an excess amount of sweets regularly can impact the amount of calories we're consuming in total and result in possible weight gain. Sweets are also pretty nutrient poor, so an alternative idea here could be to make chocolate covered fruit pieces. I like to use peanut butter, nuts, granola, and there are loads of recipes online for you to source out.
The healthier alternatives that I've listed throughout this video do take a little bit of extra time as opposed to just going to the shop and purchasing from the store. But I think that if you're really wanting to make sure your nutritional intake is inclusive of nutrient-dense foods as well, then it's definitely worth the time. Please remember to subscribe to my channel so that I can keep creating and bringing you content. Until next time.
Basement. Said it's 4 a.m. Still with wavy tweaking bases. Learn this shit ourselves on my own time I made.